Liverpool versus everybody. We are back. It is the International Break Blues, but in the meantime, we do have some things to catch up on to talk about. And I have Mama here to join me. How you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me, man. Hope you're good as well.
Yeah. Always good to have you on. So we can start with the as far as back as the Fulham game because I don't think we spoke about that. But so we can just start how we usually start. If you can remember that far back as far as the lineup. Was there anything that shocked you? We saw Lalana come in a game not too long ago. Did okay? We knew we just had the Bayern game. Henderson went out. Maybe you're resting Milner a bit. Was there anything in the lineup that shocked you? I guess we should talk about the midfield. Was that midfield a midfield that you thought it would probably be facing Fulham?
Well, actually, I didn't think that Lalana would start again, but he did well. I thought he would go with Milner.
Mm,
Obviously, he had to rest him, but I was hoping to see Shaqiri somewhere.
mm,
I don't know why he hasn't been playing lately.
mm,
Maybe something's going on. I don't know, or Klopp is just waiting for the last run. You
mm.
know. Or probably Lalana is doing better things in training too.
Yeah, I think Klopp was they made it a point to mention that in the game that he started. I can't remember the game that Lalana came in. Everybody was shocked. I don't know if it was the Burnley game or a game before that, but I remember him mentioning that Lalana had been really good in training, and that was kind of what led him to make the choice to put him into the team. I wasn't surprised. I think it's obvious that Klopp really enjoys. First of all, I think he knows. Obviously, he knows Lalana a bit more than some of the new guys. He knows what he's going to get from him. Um, he feels that Lalana is one of those guys that really buys into that pressing mentality from the midfield. And I think that's what we should look to hopefully see more from Naby when he's in or Shaqiri. And I think the if we don't see that, then we could probably look forward to seeing them not play as much as we would as some fans would like.
Yeah,
Also, I think Klopp is he's in a title fight right now and also doing well in the Champions League. I think he just feels a bit more comfortable going with what he knows. The guys who have quote unquote gotten him there, and I guess maybe that he can trust. People forget Naby and Shaqiri, even though Shaqiri's played in the Premier League before, they're both new. So it's gonna take some time, but I don't think it's anything major of what's happening. I just think Klopp is making decisions based on what he thinks is the safest way to go in these games. And like I said, I think those neither one of those guys really tend to press as much as Alana does. So I don't think it's that
yeah,
big of a deal. Good.
and I think that he gave them a shot. It's not that they were bad or they were not
Right.
good, but I think
Right.
that till now he hasn't seen what he was expecting from them,
Right.
you know. And now
Right.
he's just trying to be safe. He doesn't have time for experiments or trying again, or testing. You know, it's that point of the season where the only thing that counts is results. So he's going with what he knows.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Um, if we get into the game and your opinion on, I mean, because I feel like we pretty much controlled that game. I think it was unfortunate that we allowed it to be open for that long. Open in terms of you know compelling them to feel like what, it's still just 1-1-0. They haven't taken their chances. Maybe we can sneak something here. And the goal that came, at least for me, wasn't surprising because it looked like there was a point in that game around the time when they scored where we were kind of just a little, I don't want to say lazy, but just kind of complacent, feeling like, it's Fulham. We'll get another one. We scored before. It's not a big deal. Or we'll just finish it out and clean it up and have or tighten it up, control it. And I think that's what Klopp told Milner to do when he came on: control it and get the 1-0, get out of here. Were you
Yeah,
surprised at the goal that came, or just tell me about how the pace of the game went and what was your feeling just before their goal?
yeah. First of all, I don't understand all these comments about we were lucky to win that game because we controlled that game, and I
Mm-hmm.
think Fulham was lucky to have a goal because it was an
Mm, mm,
individual mistake, and it came. But yes, it was. We were a bit complacent. I mean, a lot, because controlled the game, scored quite early, and we were rolling. But the thing is, you have to understand too, it's the Champions League hangover, because in this type of games you play, you just want to do the minimum and get the results, you know. And when we scored, we were like, okay, it's in the pockets, and com- with all that complacency, they came back to the goal, and that goal came from nowhere because it was three mistakes. That I mean, those three players, Van Dijk and Milner, don't usually make mistakes.
Mm,
They don't,
mm.
and it came through them. With Allison, of course, it was kind of weird, but it happened, and best thing was the reaction, got the goal, even if it was a penalty. Best thing we could hope for the 3 points. That's all I remember from this game, and the 3 points. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I think in the aftermath of the game, I was definitely very I want to say emotional, but caught up in just the frustration of this idea that we couldn't finish that game off. But I think at the end of the day, 3 points is what's important. And it's a funny thing about Van Dijk because his two biggest mistakes, we've somehow gotten out of it. If you think of the foul against Sane against City in the first game, I don't know about you, but if you can think back that far, I was thinking, oh man, that's it. We just gave them the game.
Oh, of course, of course,
And and
of
and
course.
and, and what's the name? Who's the guy that stepped up and took the penalty? Riyad Mahrez. Riyad Mahrez steps up, misses the whole goal, doesn't even make contact with the goal. And then in this game, fast forward, make a mistake, and then we get a penalty for Milner, and he finishes the game off. Listen, this could have been a Gerard slip moment, and I say that because Gerard being our best player at that time, you could say more, maybe most important, maybe Suarez was the best player, but whatever the case, Gerard is a big player who the mentality is at a level that you need it. Same
Yeah,
thing with Van
yeah,
Dijk and Allison, and that could have been a really pivotal mark in this season, man. People whether they want to say it or not, that could have been like a pivotal swing in the title race. I'm
but
glad that it wasn't, and I agree. Go ahead, go ahead.
but maybe it is a swing because
You're
Jared
right in a
slipped.
positive way. In a
Yeah,
positive
in
way,
a
yeah.
positive way. Gerard slipped, but he didn't. We lost that game, but this time we win it. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's a sign. That's how I take it. I'm just trying to be positive with everything. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. No, and that's a good way to be. And I don't think I didn't think about it in that way, but you're right. Maybe it is a switch for that. Maybe it is like City's looking back saying, "Damn, we just can't get rid of this Liverpool team." They keep finding a
Exactly.
way, and I've been saying from the jump, this is a spiritual journey that Liverpool are going on this season. And you look at games like Everton, call it what you want. That's a seriously fluke of a goal. We'll take it, but I mean, the goalkeeper. That's just crazy. All these moments that we've had, and yes, sometimes we've gotten some luck as far as refs or whatever, but all teams get that. People
Yeah. Even
talk
even
about
even the Tottenham game.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think there was a Mane committed a foul on Son,
hmm
and they
hmm
didn't get the penalty. You
yeah.
know.
But you need the rubber the green, so to speak, in things in situations like that. You really do, and
Exactly.
every team that's won it will say the same thing, whether it's Fergie or
Exactly.
to recently
Exactly.
Leicester or this Man City. And if they don't, they're lying. So there is something special about this team, and even when you result back to thinking, oh, see, I thought Liverpool had gotten past this foolishness of controlling a game and then losing, they bounce right back up and show you that, that mentality, we don't have to think that way anymore because they keep coming back. They keep fighting back. Didn't look amazing, but we controlled that game. And at the end of the day, like you said, 3 points is all that matters. So, I'm happy about that. And I'm happy that this team still has that winning, that fight, that fighting mentality to come out of a bad situation and still get a result. I
Of
think
course. Of course.
we talk about refs, but let's be honest. As they say in the UK, Mane made a bit of a meal of that foul. And in another game with another ref, we might not get that. I think it's a foul. I think that kind of contact in the box, you have to call it. But in another game with another ref, we might not get that. And so let's talk about Mane. That's a nice segue to Mane.
Yeah, but it's all about. Sometimes it's kind of mental with the rest too. It depends on the player. Maybe if it was another player who's not like making the headlines uh,
Hmm.
like Mane these days, he wouldn't
Hmm.
feel the pain, you know.
Yeah, maybe, maybe.
So
And I think here's the thing with this whole, and I'm not at all saying he dove, but I'm saying that people who would say that he dove or he played on it a little too much. Unfortunately, especially in England with these idiotic refs, sometimes you have to make a meal of it because you would think him just holding him back would have been enough. But I think if Monty doesn't go down, I don't think we get that call. And it's unfortunate because these days you can't just kind of get pulled back and the refs see that and see that that's stopping your momentum and they call the pin. You have to almost go
yeah,
to the
but
ground. It
but
seems like
but
So
listen, this is the game, man. You you like going for the title race, you know. You level up with your opponent. You need the 3 points, and you get an opportunity like that. You're a striker. Of course, you go down. You know,
yeah,
anybody
yeah,
else would have gone down.
yeah.
Imagine it was Kane or Raheem
Oh
Sterling or
please,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Come on,
They would have
they would
gone down
have
without contact.
dive and roll like 10 times.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
know,
No, like I said, I'm not. I wouldn't even consider what he did a dive, and I don't think, as far as I'm concerned, Mane is one of those players who um, has a history of doing that or anything. I'm just saying it feels like it's strange that this day and age, you know, refs can't see something without maybe seeing that person go to the ground. But segue into Mane, obviously he's been the most informed forward, not just for Liverpool, not just in England. I think just and when you look up across Europe, as far as how many goals he has in how many games, he's the most informed striker that I'm seeing, and he's doing it in all different ways. And people forget he's not even scoring from the penalty spot. This is all open play, header,
yeah,
left
and
foot,
he's
right foot.
and
Go
in the
ahead.
box, in the box,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he's not a center forward.
at all. At all. Not that he couldn't play that, and not that sometimes because we fluctuate, we switch around a lot in the front three. Sometimes you might see him playing more centrally, but yes, he's not a center forward, so to speak. Um, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's what I'm finding. And this is not a this. I'm not here to bash Salah, although people might think that I am or whatever. My point about Mane, you can put him literally anywhere across that front three, and he'll be productive. You
Yeah,
don't
but
need a
that's
certain formation, a certain thing to click. Mane is just a go getter, and he's showing it. Go ahead.
yeah. I think that's the reason for the fact that he's successful these days because he got way more freedom than he used to last year. Because last year there was a spot that spot was for Salah, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like the left hand spot and the middle. And
Mm-hmm.
in the middle, they were just changing sometimes Firmino and Salah. But now Mane goes everywhere, and even sometimes Salah stay on the right because he knows that he's he's not that successful. He just stays on the
Mm-hmm.
right. Now you can see you don't even see him a lot coming into through the middle. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and Mane moves a lot. He roams a lot everywhere, middle, left, right. You know, and that's good for him. And he's getting into the box too.
Yeah. Um, there's a comment here from Mercy. Scoring isn't even Mane's job, and he's still doing it. And I said I don't agree, but I see your point. And I think what he's saying is that Salah is supposed to be this guy that is the goal getter. Yes, Mane is there to score goals, obviously, but Salah is supposed to be that guy. And I brought this up on the hangout for HH was when people start comparing Mane and Salah, I think at this point you got to see that Mane is a better all around player. But I think if you had to give Salah the upper hand in any category, it would be maybe goal scoring, maybe.
Yeah,
And
but
so
but
to
but the thing is, what's funny is that Salah normally he's not a goal scorer too. Salah is kind of a winger creator, you know.
right,
But last
thus
year
the
he did
assist he
some.
gets right.
People gotta know that last year he did something phenomenal. You know,
But it was never going to
those
be
goals
repeated. It was never going to be
exactly.
repeated. Never even
I'm not.
close to being repeated.
Yeah, he's good. He will get goals and everything. But what
Yeah.
happened last year, was something. It's not something that will last. You know, because eventually that's not him. I'm not saying that he's not good. He's excellent. He's a great player. You know, but it's something that won't last because that's not him. And there was a system too. There was a system that was allowing him to do that.
Mm.
That system we were
Yeah.
playing, the first option in the attack was Salah. You know, those other
Yeah.
players, Mane and Firmino, were second field. When we tried that, club tried to accommodate him in the middle of the season by putting him in the center even, and everything was going through him. He was working sometimes, but some other times he was not.
Yeah.
He was not as productive as last year. So we had to change.
Yeah.
Then he put him back on the right. And on the right, people know his game. He's too predictable.
Mm-hmm.
He always has to go on his right foot, force the shot, or give the ball to someone else. But still, he has to vary his game. And that's the
Yeah.
thing about Mane. Mane can do anything.
Yep.
He can go right, he can go left, he can take you one on one, he can shoot. You know, everything. That's the difference.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not even about, obviously they're both on our team. They're both players that we want to see do well. It's not about saying who's better or who I like better or anything. The point is, if you look at the all around play, Mane is more effective. When you see Salah against defenders, yes, he might be able to do using his pace alone, really, a little two step or whatever and get past a guy. But now what you're saying is, I know people want to use a narrative of he's getting double teamed. Well, when he was getting double teamed last season and getting away with it, getting past guys, nobody brought that narrative up. And there's moments in this season, in the most recent game, where it wasn't about a double team. He was one on one, and he didn't finish. So again, I just think that there was a hype that came around Salah, and rightfully so. In that first season, it was great. I don't know if he bought into that. I don't know if he feels like he needs to live up to that, but he needs to play a bit more freer and stop thinking so much about the game. He was given a plethora. He's been given a plethora of chances over these blocks of game. I don't know, been 6, 7, 8, whatever. And he just hasn't looked like the confident Salah that we've seen. And yes, we've seen him miss chances before, but this is a pretty substantial drought that we haven't seen before. And I think, of course, as long as we're winning games, I don't think people will really go in on him as much as they probably would like to. But there's got to be a game coming up around the corner. Maybe this break will do him some good. That he starts to join in with the goal scoring.
Yeah,
I
but
think it's
I
before.
thought I thought he should have gone with the Egypt squad. Change his
Yeah.
mind.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, People will cheer him. They love him over there. He get his confidence back. Maybe get a goal or two or assist. And yeah, but I think the thing is Salah has to know that he doesn't have to score goals. You know, because when you see, let's go back to Mane. Mane, when he has a drought and people are saying, Mane is so wasteful, he's not good enough, he's missing too much. Apart from that, he's defending, he's creating, he never goes hiding, you know, and he's some kind effective. Even when he has a bad game, he can score or make an assist or something like that. And Salah can do that, and that's the problem with him,
Yep.
you know.
I mean, I
And
think when it. Go ahead.
you don't have to score. You don't have to score. You know, just
Mm-hmm.
and Klopp even said it. He said that he said that he has to. He just has to work hard on the field, and that doesn't mean scoring. Anything you
Right.
can.
Right. And that's what I always say. It's about the performance. But as good as Mane has been, Firmino, up and down. We're gonna need Salah to score at some point. Let's be honest. We're gonna need him to get. I mean, because Are we really gonna? Not to say he can't do it. Are we gonna bank on Mane to be that dude to start the
Yeah,
scoring or end the scoring to the end of the season? That's a bit much to ask of him. Now, maybe
yeah,
he will, but even if he does, we need Salah to add the goals or Firmino. But again, I've never looked at Firmino as a big goal scorer. That's just not his thing. But Salah, it's supposed to be his thing. So that's all I mean. Yes, the performances need to be better, and as long as he's doing that, getting assists, and maybe there is some truth to this whole double team thing, and maybe that's opening it up to Firmino. And so I think that's a bunch of BS. But whatever. Let's say that's true. Maybe that's him helping as well because of the attention to him. It's opening up for Mane and Firmino. Whatever. But Salah at some point needs to be getting goals, in my opinion.
listen, Mane has always had attention to from the defenders, special attention, and it's not that he's been double team or what. It's just that people figured out how he plays. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. And he's always giving them that. You know,
Yep.
but
Yep.
but 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 last time I was saying we need Salah back if you want these titles, whether it's Champions League or the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mane can do it on his own. And people were saying, yeah, Mane is doing that. Yeah, he's scoring and everything. He's doing good. He's doing very well. But if you don't get goals from Salah and Firmino, I don't think that we're gonna win something.
It's going to be really,
People
really
have to
hard.
be
It's going
involved.
to be really, yeah. It's going to be really,
Exactly.
really hard if they're not, doing something other than what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Um, but it's really, 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 man. When we sit back and look at it, it's really amazing what's happening right now. I think, and I've said it before, Klopp has definitely put this team back on the map, especially when you talk about as far as Europe is concerned. Back in the Champions League final eight, and it looks pretty good. And let's segue that into Porto. Obviously, if people, people, everybody had their own opinions. People would probably say, if you're of the mind of let's get a lighter opponent to make it easier, quote unquote, or whatever the case. Maybe you were going for Ajax, maybe you're going for Porto. Some guys like me maybe saying, this is the Champions League. Let's get a big dog. Let's get a big team. Let's get a Barcelona. Let's get a Juve. Whatever it's going to be. Maybe avoid City. Maybe avoid United. Maybe avoid any English team for that matter. But
Yeah.
Porto, your thoughts when you saw the draw, and do you think it's going to be as I don't know easy as it was last season, 5-0 in the first game, stuff like that, or do you think Porto has improved?
Well, they've improved, but I don't think not enough. Not
Mm-hmm.
enough. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because when I saw the draw, I was happy. Before the draw, I was like, I want Porto. I don't want. I want Porto. I don't want Ajax or
Mm-hmm.
Juventus. Juventus would be too early. Of course, no England team, no English team.
Mm-hmm.
But Porto was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Because if you see playing with like the case of City playing with Tottenham, they're playing 3 times with Tottenham in 10 or 11 days. And the
Mm-hmm.
problem is that that's like playing 2 more Premier League games for them.
Yep.
And that's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see them
Yeah.
beating them 3 times.
You don't see City beating them 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that'll be a harder thing for a City to get through than people may think. Now, people say all this stuff about they have experience with the league, but they don't really have experience juggling um, all of these things. And especially, I think the tie against Tottenham, I think most people will probably say is a foregone conclusion that City are going to get past them. And I don't know if you can really say that. Neither
Well,
one of the teams are
it,
royalty when it comes to Champions League. Good.
it was the same last year when City was playing Liverpool. Everybody was like, yeah,
Right,
City will
right,
win.
right, right. So I think they might want to be careful with that. On paper, yes, you probably say, oh, okay, he should go through. Um,
Yeah, but
but go
going
ahead.
going back to Porto, yeah, it's a good team. I've seen them playing, especially the game against Roma. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
they have a lot of quality.
You don't
They
think they have a
they
lot of quality? Okay.
yeah, they don't have a lot of quality. I mean, compared to us, but they fight.
Right, 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 right.
They
Yeah,
don't give
yeah,
up. They give everything.
yeah,
You know. So
yeah.
yeah, and Brahimi, I think Brahimi plays on the right side, right? Right or left?
Who's that?
He's right, Brahimi.
I thought it was the left. It might be right because I thought they had
Yeah,
that guy Tecatito, maybe on the other side.
yeah. He's on the left side. Yeah, because I was
Yeah,
worried when Robertson would not be,
yeah. We're gonna talk about
playing
Robertson
the
in a
first
second.
leg. So
Yeah,
Moreno's gonna be there. I don't know if he's gonna go with Moreno
I
or
think it's
Milner.
Milner all day. I think it's Milner all day.
Okay, that's that's
I
better, man.
I, I mean I wouldn't mind seeing Moreno, but I think it's gonna be Milner. I don't think Klopp's gonna take a chance with the mistakes that he possibly could have. But either way, I think Milner could be a guy there too with Brahimi or whoever they have on that side. So it just depends. But yeah, I think the fact that we're playing Porto, all due respect to them, it does leave me a bit more, you know, uh, comfortable as opposed to if we were playing Barcelona without Robertson, for example, or a
Yeah,
team of
yeah,
that
of
caliber,
course.
where we had to really worry about that second leg. But you brought up. Let me get my opinion about Porto. I do think they've improved, but I agree it's a good point you made. Not to the point where we have to fear them, and I think the one thing they have going for them is that was pretty embarrassing what happened to them, last Champions League against us. And I think we will see more of a fight, and it could be a tougher tie than we imagined, but I think we still come out on top. Um, the Robertson has been kind of, I shouldn't say worrying me, but lately his performances just haven't been up to scratch. And look, he's played almost every game. We get it.
Yeah, the
There's
guy is tired.
nothing. Yeah, nothing to panic about. But there has been some moments in the past few games where it's like, ooh, it'd be nice if we had someone to come in to give him a breather. It's only right. So I think maybe this him missing that game maybe won't be such a big thing anyway. Twofold because we have enough to still, I think, like I said, get past Porto, and also maybe it'll give him a bit of some time to just relax, get his mind right, and come back fresh, a little bit fresher. Um,
Exactly,
but I
exactly.
want to talk about some of these guys on the fringes or that are in the team now that I think probably were on the fringes that have come in and done a great job. And I got to start first with Matip. If we can go back to when Gomez was hurt, I think a lot of us were thinking, oh man, not that the season like this, the season was over. That would be stupid. But we all thought, man, who's gonna, Lovren and Matip, they can't stay healthy. Fabinho is better in the midfield. Who are we gonna get to really come in and do a job? And not just a job, be effective, really effective next to Van Dijk. And I don't think a lot of people thought that'd be Matip. But Matip has come in um, from the moment he's come in and been really amazing, whether it's him making those runs from deep to get something started in the opposite in the other team's box, pulling off a pass, being really good defensively. Just talk to me about Matip, man, and how at the end of the season, especially when we win it, if and when we win it, he will be a guy that we look back and say, man, this guy really came in. I mean, everybody played a part. If you played any games, you played a part. But
The
you
part.
know, that's a huge thing because the defense was one of the things that we thought we got to get that fixed in the summertime. We got it fixed, and then we got these injuries. But Matip has really come in, and honestly, I haven't really even thought of Gomez not once in this running. I've
Yeah,
been thinking Matip is that dude. So just tell me what you
yeah,
think about guys like Matip who've come in and really helped put their stamp on this season.
yeah. I already liked Matip. I always thought he was better than Lovren, but
Mm-hmm.
my only problem with him was that he was not aggressive enough. He was too selfish,
Right, right,
you
right.
know.
Yep.
And he completely changed. He's been bullying center forwards.
Lewandowski.
Tackling. Yeah, Lewandowski. I didn't want to say his name, but yeah, he was bullied. He was
Mm-hmm.
completely bullied. And that game against Bayern, he was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
He was excellent. Maybe he got an own goal, but that's nothing.
Yeah.
Matip was really good, and he's a baller, man. The way he runs with the ball, sometimes make those long passes. You know, he's really good, and I think I don't know. Maybe Gomez will be back. I don't think that when he gets back from now to the end of the season, he'll reach his level that he was. You know, but right now we don't have a problem. with Van Dijk and Matip. It's working completely well.
Hmm.
Everybody's doing their part. Van Dijk is the boss, of course, and
Hmm.
Matip is following, but he's doing a great job, excellent job.
Yep. And I think as much as there's a lot of people we could talk about for that Bayern game, but I think
I
Matip
I,
kind of.
I don't even want to see Lovren now. He can
Yeah,
come
well, I
maybe
was gonna ask you. Yeah, I was gonna
on
ask
three
you.
shirts.
I was gonna
You know,
ask you. Are you worried that when he is back fit, that Klopp will go with him, or do you think he'll stay with Matip? And I'm talking about just
I,
away from what Mame would think. What do you and Klopp? If you had to go in Klopp's mind, do you think he's like, man, I can't wait to get Lovren back, or do you think he's thinking, Matip has come in, he's earned it, I can't rock the boat now?
I think he's satisfied because right now it's the duo is working very well. You know, so it's gonna be hard for Lovren to come back. Of course, he will rotate to give Matip to time to breathe, but I can't see how can Lovren come back and just change everything. I'm not saying he's gonna be bad or something like that, but I don't think that this partnership that's been playing for like a few months already, he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna come and change it. I don't think so.
Yeah, well, I surely hope so. I think I believe Klopp is sticking with Matip one way or another. And
Yeah,
the
yeah,
thing
but
is this.
Club loves Lovren, man. He loves Lovren.
Oh, I know he does, and I feel like, in this at the same token, Larvin's one of them dudes that, at least from what I remember, there's been so many times where he's like, the word is he's going to be playing maybe, and then he doesn't play. He's sore throat or his kneecap hurts or what. It's always some goofy shit. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
of that.
he definitely does love Lovren. He's in that list with Lallana and all these other players, and that's cool. But I think Matip deserves this. And like, I'm glad you brought up the whole soft thing because that was my issue with him too. When he first came in, maybe this is by default, but I thought he's our best defender for a while. He had a nice little run. He looked composed. He could play the ball at his feet. He had the height. He was good. But yes, it was a soft thing that really, because a guy that size, I mean, it was disgusting seeing how soft he was in moments. But I don't know if that's just Van Dijk's presence. Maybe Van Dijk had a word with him, like, bro, you can't, we can't have this back here. I don't know what it was, but he's
It's
changed
definitely
overnight
Van
almost.
Dijk, man. It's Van
Yeah,
Dijk.
yeah, yeah. He's
Because you cannot
changed overnight.
you can't play with someone like Van Dijk every day and be soft. It's not
Yeah.
possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way Van Dijk just goes at everybody, you have to do the same.
Yep.
You have to.
And that's the biggest thing about Van Dijk. Not even, in my opinion, not his skills, not his ability to score goals. Now, it's his leadership. It's his
Yeah.
that is the most important. We haven't had that in quite a while. And I know people will talk about Gerard, and I think he had his time of doing that. But I never thought Gerard was an excellent captain anyway. But I think Van Dijk this is the first time I've seen a guy really just hold guys accountable and then lead by example. We've talked about he doesn't really make a lot of mistakes. The ones he does, obviously, they're unfortunate, and then they're kind of huge mistakes. But those are all just kind of like off the grid, kind of like random things that happen. But the way he it almost feels like he puts fear in those defenders, man. Like the way he yells at them and expects the best from them. Don't let crosses in, clear the ball out. Play smart. I think that's his biggest gift and talent and attribute that he has for Liverpool, more so than his obvious skills, because that's something that you lead by example like that. Only guys can only fall in line. There's no other way for them to go with that. That type of figure commanding like that. That's what Liverpool needed for a long time. And now that we have it, I feel like it's the best that we could have gotten. So
And if you see all the team got better defensively. Whether it's Trent, whether it's Robinson,
exactly. Yep.
even Fabinho when he's playing like really low.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They all got better, and
Yep.
it's not because Van Dijk is there. I think it's just how Van Dijk's lead them. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
and
Yep. And that's why I think it should be a foregone conclusion that he gets. I know it's not the end of the season yet, but if he doesn't get Player of the Year, something's not right. Something's
yeah,
not right,
yeah,
man. To me,
definitely
it
player
should
of
be
the year.
stamped in. Somebody said, "Who is our best midfield now? If you had to pick one, I'll go to you first, Mame."
Well, I'll go with Genie. First name
Okay.
Mbappe.
Okay.
Club. I want Keita.
I know.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that this guy, the only problem is that he hasn't been given a run. You know, he plays 2 3 games, then he goes out, he gets injured, or club doesn't include him in the plan. But the guy is good, man. The guy is really good, and he has to learn. And the only way to learn is to play.
Yep.
That's it. Because the problem with Keita is that he's not used to the Premier League yet. Because if you see the German league, you can hold the ball. You do your thing, no one will come at you. And the problem is Naby, he doesn't release the ball quick enough. Sometimes it seems like he's playing alone on the like there's no opponents. He's just going. Doesn't
Yeah.
pass the ball quick enough,
Yeah.
you know. And club should let him play, man. Just at least those games where you win 2-0 or something like that. Put him quite early and let him play. Let him
Yeah.
get
Well,
his
that's the thing. There's a handful of games. Well, there's 7 games left, but a few of those games, or most of them, besides the Chelsea and Spurs game, are against teams that you and even maybe even those games, but they're against teams that you'd hope to see Naby in. Hopefully, in the Champions
yeah,
League against Porto at some point. I don't think we're not going to see him at all for the rest. At least I hope not. Because again, it is slightly frustrating. You want to trust what Klopp is doing, but it's slightly frustrating to see him get a run of games, looking like he's really getting it, and then just be frozen out of the team. And maybe what we saw was him getting it wasn't for Klopp necessarily getting it as far as what he expects from a player in that position on his team. Maybe what we were seeing wasn't really what Klopp was looking to see, and that's what I
yeah,
gotta
maybe.
that's what I got to put my hat on to just be okay with it because it's definitely frustrating. And not just him, Shaqiri as well. There's games where I feel like, man, we could really use Shaqiri in this game. But he doesn't even, he's on the bench, but he doesn't even see the pitch. So I don't know what it is with those 2 guys, but you got to hope that Klopp knows what he's doing and we'll see him when we see him. Thompson says Keita loves dribbling. He dribbles absolutely everywhere. Yeah, well, he's definitely a guy
Yeah,
who is
but I
confident
think
on the ball.
the other side of club is he's a genius too. So it's hard to criticize him on that because
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
sometimes when he puts in a player, he knows exactly what he wants, and that player does a great performance. It happened with
Yep.
Alana, it happened with Fab, you know, even Shakiri, you know. So I think
Yep.
he's still waiting for that moment. That's how he is.
Yeah. And as frustrating as it is that, and I'm sure it is for Klopp too. He hasn't won a trophy in a while, but even with Liverpool, he's taken us. We've gotten to. He hasn't lost a 2-legged tie in Europe, whether it be the Europa League or Champions League. Got to the final in both competitions, and a final 8 this year. Klopp's knocking on the door, and I think we're just taking that one step closer to reach that goal. But the idea that we got knocked out of those other competitions, the FA Cup, whatever the other one, League Cup, whatever, but we're still, in both, the Premier League, of course, the title fight for that, and the Champions League swinging, not just kind of, barely in it. We're in both competitions strong, top of the table right now, in the final 8, and it looks like I said, we're knocking on the door. It looks really positive in my mind. That we can secure a trophy this season. Maybe 2. You never know. You never know. I think if we win the rest of our games in the Premier League, and that's not going to be an easy task. Although I think Chelsea don't even look familiar right now. I don't know what's going on with them.
Yeah,
That should be a win. But when they play against us and Hazard
yeah,
comes to
exactly,
Anfield, he always does well. He always does well.
exactly.
So
They just play like it's their last game. You know, that's what
yeah,
they all do when they play Liverpool. You know.
yeah. So I mean, I think it's looking good, man. I'm happy where we are. I have not too much to complain about. I'm hoping that guys who did go away. I think did Trent end up staying in Liverpool or well, I guess
I,
England
I,
was.
I,
Did
I
he pull
don't know,
out?
but I heard that he was injured. I didn't
Oh,
follow.
okay, okay, okay. Well, I hope that's just like a smoke screen. Hope he's not really injured because we can't really afford to have that right now.
No, no, no.
But
Oh,
yeah, as long as most of our guys stay fit, I think we'll be good. There was something else I wanted to talk about. I forgot what it was. Talked about Champions League. Talked about Fulham. Um, oh, the other guy besides Matip was I wanted to get your opinion on Origi and why you think maybe he's getting the nod over Sturridge. And do you think Origi is a guy, or was Origi a guy in your mind that you would like to stay at Liverpool past this season?
well, I think that my problem with storage is that storage doesn't fit the system.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he make assists, scored some goals, but he doesn't fit the system. Sturridge doesn't track back. He doesn't. I mean, he just seems lazy at times, and
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't. It seems like he doesn't like get into that team play, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Lalana, sorry, Origi. I'm not saying he's good. He's, for me, he's not good enough, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
he's doing better than Sturridge. When he comes in, you can see him do the efforts and everything. You know, he's a body, the body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's strong. He's fast enough. You know, and he does some stuff. He does some stuff like in the build up in the Bayern game. He came in and scored two. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's what I was telling to a friend of mine. I was telling him that Origi played not haven't played like 100 minutes in like maybe 12 games or or 10 games, and he scored. You know, and
Yeah.
some other players haven't scored 10 games. You know, so
Yep.
he's good, and he knows Liverpool. He's been here for like what 3 years. And first
Yep.
season where he was, I mean, Mane's first season, Origi was playing a lot. You know, he was playing a lot, especially when Mane was hurt. He was playing a lot, and he had some goals, he had some moments. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but his progression has stopped, and probably because he doesn't play enough. You know, I don't know if you should keep him or not. If you don't get somebody else, we should keep him. But if you get somebody else, another forward, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he can go. He can go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Sturridge definitely gotta go, man. That is
Yeah.
useless.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. Just to round it off, let's go ahead and talk about Coutinho. That's been the popular topic, and you guys in the chat, the few that's in there, definitely chime in on your opinions. So, Mom, I'm coming to ask you straight up, man. If there was a chance to get Coutinho, he wanted to come back, the money was right. Are you pulling the trigger on signing Coutinho?
Nope.
Simple as that.
No.
Yep,
Sorry.
I agree.
Eight- eighty,
Give
eighty,
me your reasons. Yeah.
80 millions, like they're saying 80 millions, right?
Mm-hmm.
80 millions, you can get other players. You can get another player like him, even better, you know. And Coutinho left. I'm sorry, man. The guy left. The guy forced to move to leave. Why do you want him back?
Yeah, it's mad that people I mean, everybody has an opinion. That's fine. Somebody said Coutinho for 40 million, I buy. So yeah, that's my point. Like, which it's not going to happen. But let's say it was half that price, 40 million. So you wouldn't take it back under any circumstances. Is that what you're saying? Doesn't matter the money
No, the
doesn't
the,
like.
the, the, thing, the thing is, unlike other fans, when Coutinho left, I was like, man, good luck. You know, that's his dream. Let him go.
Right.
This is not a country; it's a club. So let him go, man. I was happy. I was even happy for him. And I was
Mm-hmm.
watching the first game to see if he was doing well or not. But the thing is, the guy forced to move to leave the club. You know, and it can happen again. I'm sorry. Another club can come back and he say, "Yo, I want to move because maybe he will win something at Liverpool or have or be in the spotlight again." And
Mm-hmm.
another point is that Coutinho didn't make us better last year.
Yeah, I think people are hanging on to those. I don't know how many games it was before he left. Of course, he performed to the top of his level, probably the best he ever performed at Liverpool in half a season because he was trying to put on his audition tape for Barcelona or just show how good he was, I guess.
Okay,
But
okay.
yeah, I good.
I'm gonna ask them. Do they really think that if Coutinho stayed last year, we could have done better than we did? Meaning winning the Champions League
I
last
think
year.
people do think that. I think people do
No,
think that.
I don't think so. I don't think
I,
so
I don't
because
either, but I think that yeah,
there was a problem when Coutinho was on the field with Firmino and Salah and Mane. You know, one of them was not productive. Sometimes it was Mane, sometimes it was Firmino. You know, but
hmm
Coutinho just took a lot of space in the on the field.
yeah, I agree, and I think people will say stuff like and it's to this day people are saying we still haven't replaced Coutinho. We need that Coutinho as player, and obviously Klopp. I don't know if he thought in the same vein, but he obviously thought that a creative a player in a creative mode 10, like Fakir was a guy we could have gotten because he was interested in getting him. We didn't get him. So now there's just talk about, Paulo Dybala, which, he's been froze out at Juventus. He's not his production has gone way down. This guy was getting double digit goals every season until, Ronaldo came in. So do you think that's possible? And if it is, would you take Dybala?
I really don't know if it's possible. I tend to be very very careful with this transfer news. But if
Mm-hmm.
it's possible, of course you take him over Coutinho. And you see, Dybala can be a creative. He can play as a striker. He can go on the wings too. And that's not something Coutinho gonna give you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think Klopp likes those kind of players that can play in multiple positions, you know. And I think that my his problem with Klein came with that because Klein can only play right back, you know. But
Yeah.
on the bench, when you have like a player who can play from 2 to 3 positions, sometimes four, it's always better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Dybala, of course, man, who wouldn't want what team wouldn't want him except Juve, of course. But yeah, let's go for him, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like
That's
I think
exciting.
now there's two things here. He could say to himself, you know what, I'm gonna stay here and fight for my place beyond this season. Or he could say, I'm still young. I see what Liverpool's doing. Especially if we win a trophy or two this season. Why not? Maybe I can go there and be that guy, that extra key that they're missing.
I, I,
So like you said, good.
I don't know about if he'll join Liverpool, but he'll definitely leave because I think he's been quite frustrated like this past year because first of all the World Cup he doesn't play because of
Mm-hmm.
Messi, and now he doesn't play because of Cristiano at Juve. So
Yeah, yeah.
he,
Well, yeah,
he
you're
he
right.
want to leave. He want to
He,
leave.
he might he might not go to Liverpool, but I think with Klopp here and over these last couple of seasons, where as for example, under Brendan Rodgers, we're not even in the conversation. I think we're at least in the conversation now. We have that pool. We're doing great in Europe. We're doing great in our domestically. So a guy like Dybala isn't it's not a guy now that you can say, oh, he wouldn't come to Liverpool. Now he might not, based on a lot of things. Liverpool isn't the most attractive place. I think guys would really want to. I mean, if anything, it's probably London or things like that. But I think with Klopp there and with the team, I think more so than in the recent past, we can land guys of that caliber. I don't think it's
Oh,
too much out of the question now. Yeah.
of course we can. I think now we can learn anyone now. It's a different ball game. Like we first I mean we are at the top of the league. City
Mm-hmm.
is here in front of us by 1 point. Champions
Mm-hmm.
League last year we went to the final, and this year when there was the draw, I can swear none of the team wanted to face us, including Juventus. So
Oh yeah,
he
yeah,
knows
yeah,
about
yeah,
Liverpool. Everybody knows.
yeah, yeah.
It's different. Everybody knows that this Liverpool team, even if you don't win something this year, in the following years will be at the top of Europe. That's
Mm,
for sure.
mm. Um, So I lied. This is the final thing I want to ask you. We'll end on this. Give me a percentage, or however you want to give it to me, of the chances of if we win a trophy this season or two of us losing Mane or Salah. Do you think it's a
Wow.
do you think it's a high probability, or do you think it won't happen because of what we got going on in Liverpool right now?
I think I, I, I think it's 50-50. I think it's 50-50. And it's not only because we're winning or something like that. It's the fact that these two guys, there's something going on between them. We don't want to admit it, but there's
Mm-hmm.
something going on because if you see last year, Mane was on the shadow of Salah,
Mm-hmm.
and this year, Mane is going like on the spotlight, and Salah doesn't really want to be on the shadow
Mm-hmm.
of Mane, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Mane was frustrated last year because he was he was a second field, you know. And when Zidane talked to him, there was some real contact. I can assure you. He wanted to leave, you know. He wanted
Mm-hmm.
to leave. But the thing is, with Mane, he said that he would never ever force a move,
Mm.
especially out of Liverpool.
He said he
So
would never force a move.
last time he
Okay.
forced the move was at Metz before he joined Austria, but it wasn't him forcing the move. It was his agents. You know, he just took his passport and tell him
Mm-hmm.
not to get into the bus. You know, that's not
Mm-hmm.
money. That's not money. You know, but I think that one big club will come calling for one of them. You know, and I think one of them will leave.
This summer.
Probably.
Okay.
I hope I'm
Okay.
wrong, but probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. And I think there's been a lot made of Zidane, and the assumption that he's going to stay at Real Madrid longer than these few months. And you got to believe that Real Madrid are going to give him whatever he needs, and he'll definitely be coming to England to get someone. I don't know if it's Hazard, I don't know if it's Salah, Mane, Conte, Pogba. He's going to be coming to England to get at least one player, if not a couple. So
I'm telling you, Hazard ain't moving, man. Chelsea cannot recruit. They cannot buy players. Hazard is not moving.
you don't think so? Okay.
I don't think so. People
Okay.
can say anything they want. What they gonna do now if they if Hazard leaves?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
the
because
one
I
thing. That
they
is
can't
the
be putting
one
it.
more thing.
They can't put their faith in the American. They can't put all
But
everything in it. So they got to keep. That's a good point. Yeah, they got to keep him.
he's not moving. He's not going anywhere. Even Golo Kante and Hazard, they're not moving.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. I tend to agree with that. I think not that I want it to happen, but I guess what I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised if one of those two leave. And I mean, honestly, either way, I do hope that we're at least looking for some sort of not necessarily backup, but just guys that can give them a bit of a fight for the position for the shirt every weekend, because we're very blessed that neither one of those guys really get hurt too much. That's the front three in general, really. We're really blessed, but how much longer can we go on playing 38 games every season plus the games in the Champions League and the cups, and expecting these guys not to get a knock here or there? So, got to have some other guys come in to at least give them
Yeah, but but
somebody.
but I think that's Klopp's work. You know, Klopp. I think with Klopp, people can stay, man. Those players can stay. You know, if it was some other coaches, I'd be worried. But Klopp, I don't think he loves Mane. I don't think he'll let Mane go. And I think
Yeah,
that he can talk to Mane because Mane is not the kind of guy that will go on strike or something like that. I
yeah,
think
yeah, 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 yeah,
he
yeah,
sees him like a father, you know. So he can talk
yeah.
to him. Even Salah, you know, they got where they are because of Klopp. Before they were playing for Klopp,
That's a good
of
point.
course they were good players, but nobody, no, no,
That's
no.
a good point.
I mean, Nobody put
on this
them
stage.
amongst the best players.
You could
You
say
know?
that about a lot of players on our team. And again,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
goes
Of
back
course,
to
of
show
course.
how good Klopp is. Call him a flop all you want. Call him this big goofy character that's always smiling, laughing, running around, hugging people. But what you can't say is that he's not a player's manager. These guys clearly love playing for him, and he gets the best out of dudes. Even if there's
Yep.
guys like Genie who he never played the six in his life. Maybe he played the six in Netherlands. When he's playing in that league, I don't know. I doubt it. But he got these guys to buy into um, a certain game plan, and not every coach can do that. Not every
Yeah,
coach can do that.
but the thing is too. The problem with club too is that after 3 years, 2 or 3 years, you're not developing anymore.
Mm, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the thing.
Mm,
Sometimes the
mm,
players want to look for another challenge, you know, because
mm,
all those, like when I see like Mane got better, of course,
mm.
with all the aspects of his game. Now he's better because he's consistent. But after that, I don't see what club can bring. You know, maybe playing in another position, that number 10 role or striker. I don't know.
So you're basically saying that it would be in his best interest to stay at Liverpool because if he went to another team, he might end up like a Coutinho situation where he's not
No,
producing.
no, 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 no.
Oh, oh.
Mane is different. Just that explosivity that he has, and this work rate that he has, will make him work through any team in Europe.
Mm,
You know,
okay,
but
okay.
I think that his best interest is to stay because Liverpool is only gonna get better.
Mm-hmm, mm.
They have to stay, all of them. We're only gonna get better. Because club is saying we're not making another big signing, but the team will get better next year. I'm sure he's gonna make a big signing. He's just
Yeah,
saying it.
at least one, but definitely probably a couple. Maybe not as many as we
Yeah,
did this last summer, but
yeah. And if you were in a position like this where you compete for the league and the Champions League, why you want to go somewhere else?
yeah,
Why?
yeah. You would think. I mean, I just hope guys don't have this attitude of on both sides. Like on the positive, well, on the positive side for the club could be, all right. Well, I won it here. Let me see if I can win it somewhere else. Or it's we don't win anything, and it's like, damn, like this is probably the best team we're gonna have. Let me go somewhere else. But I think people are forgetting also that Naby's there, and Naby's like a brother with Mane.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
so I
Nabi is
think
like a
that
brother.
might be one other thing that could, if there was any doubt in our minds, that could keep him. I just watched the Bezies with him and Naby on the LFC channel the other day. You could tell they have a really really strong bond. So that might be something that if he was considering it could keep him. So, um, but yeah, man. All in all, man,
Yeah,
it's we're doing
and
some. Go ahead.
just something I want to add.
Yeah,
Maybe
sure.
if we beat Barcelona, that myth will come down. That Real Madrid and Barcelona myth will come down. You know,
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
maybe.
So it's a foregone conclusion that Barcelona's going to beat Man United.
No, well, I think they will pass, man. I think
You
they
think
will
that you
pass.
think they'll beat
I
Man United?
I, I
Okay.
think it won't be easy. Man
Uh
United
huh.
can even win one of the games.
Yeah. Yeah.
But those Champions League heroics by Messi, man.
I know. I know. I know. But I keep
Like
thinking. I keep thinking.
when Messi is at 100%, when it's on his game, Man United cannot stop him individually
Yeah.
or
But
collectively.
bro, like I'm
Some
not trying to
other
make
teams
this.
can.
I don't want to make this into another team's podcast, but you know, you don't think Barcelona are depending a bit too much on Messi these days? And look what Roma did to them last season. Roma, I don't think that team was necessarily better than United. I know that was last season, and that's a different situation. But I don't know. I mean, it looks like yes, you would think it's Barcelona United. You look at the players on Barcelona or the player on Barcelona, you think they should pretty much get this. But I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. It'll be interesting for sure. It'll be
Because the
interesting to
thing
see.
is, Barcelona defense is not good enough. We
That's
can
what I'm
easily
saying.
break it anytime. But Man U
Yeah.
defense is not good enough too. it's it's really bad.
Yeah. So
That's the thing.
there's a lot of. I mean, I think there's some good ties in this final eight. I mean, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, we already know what the semifinal is going to be." You know, Ajax versus. I mean, I'm sorry, Juventus versus City and Barcelona versus Liverpool, which probably will be true, but it doesn't mean we won't get some good games
Yeah, no,
in
I think
between.
all the ties are very interesting, right? All of
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
all
yeah.
of them, you know. And I'm saying Barcelona would win, but I would love to have some surprises, of course.
Okay, so who would be obviously us in the final, but who do you think the final would be playing against us? City, Juventus, like who do you think, or who would you prefer? I should say.
I think a lot of people want to see Real Madrid, Barcelona, another Clasico, but I want to see Liverpool City. That's what I want to see.
Mm,
You
mm.
know, be competing in the league and be competing in the Champions League. You know, that's what I want to see.
You know what? I agree. I agree. I think there's a bit of me that wants to see Juve because I think that they're looked at as the favorite, and because they've added Cristiano Ronaldo, that's supposed to take them over the hump. Him being Mr. Champions League and all that, and plus he was on the team that beat us last season, so there's a little bit of a grudge there. But
Yeah.
I think knocking Pep Guardiola out of the Champions League in the final, oh man, that would be lovely. That would be lovely to
That'd
have
be
that
lovely.
Champions League, that second Champions League for him dangling in his face and get it snatched like that. That would be great. And then if we win the league too, oh man, it'd be perfect. So, but yeah, I'll take either one. I'll take either one. Whoever
Yeah,
Ajax, Juventus, it
of
don't
course.
matter. Whatever, as long as we
Whoever
get
we
there.
get.
But yeah, we don't want to look too far ahead. We still got to get Porto, and we don't know what's going to happen with the Barcelona Man United game. But yo, my man, thanks for making time as always, man. I know it was last minute. I'm glad you were available, and we'll definitely try to get back on after the break.
Yeah, always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure.
Enjoy
Thanks a
your
lot.
weekend.
You
Thank you.
too,
You're welcome.
man. All right.